On this week's Rebel Report, history is being made in the Valley as the Las Vegas Lights partner with an industry that continues to be controversial across the nation, the pot industry. We congratulate our men's and women's golf teams as they make their own history, both squads winning the Mountain West titles again. We've got an in-studio interview with head coach of women's golf, Amy Bush-Herzer. Plus, we get an exclusive inside look at the UFC training facility here in town. And we're rolling to the bowling alley to see if our reporter knows how to add spin on the lanes. The Rebel Report starts right now.
Welcome to the 8th episode of this season of the Rebel Report, and we've got a fantastic show lined up for you all. I'm Sarah Coker.
And I'm Megan Platt. It was National Golf Day on April 25th, and we want to celebrate it by congratulating our Rebels for winning their third consecutive Mountain West tournament titles, as both men and women's golf left the green with a victory.
And that kicks off today's show. The win locks up both teams' places in next month's NCAA Regionals. Here's the inside look on how our Rebels brought home the title from Naomi Brown.
The men's golf team traveled to Washington, where they competed for the Mountain West Conference title, while the women competed in California. The women's team won for the third consecutive year, coming in 8 over and had the best team score 2 days out of the 3-day tournament. UNLV Women's Golf was also the only team to record a single round team score under par throughout the tournament. Senior Mackenzie Rame competed in her final league tournament and reached her highest individual score.
I kind of found a groove on the back nine, and coach was able to help me with something in my swing, and just putt started to fall and everything was going well.
This win is even more special as it is the women's 4th tournament win of the season. The men's team competed against 11 other teams and came out on top with 8 under, while 4 individuals finished in the top 13. UNLV also placed ahead of UNR by 3 points in the Governor's Series. Senior Shintaro Bond competed in his last tournament this year. He was named All-American Scholar and will compete in this year's Arnold Palmer Cup alongside freshman teammate Jack Trent.
My ball placement was really good off the tee and on the green as well, and today was actually a better ball striking day.
Coach Dwayne Knight also reflected on his team and what it means to him to take home the championship title.
But guys were pretty solid, and nothing's easy. The conference is strong, pretty much top to bottom, and you got to really play well to get a conference championship. So we're real proud to represent Mountain West as champions this year.
This will be the men's 29th appearance at the NCAA Regionals before moving on to the NCAA Division Championships, which will take place in Oklahoma later this May.
And on top of the Rebels' victories, this marked the 31st season for Hall of Fame coach Dwayne Knight. Stay tuned for our interview with head coach of women's golf, Amy Bush-Herzer. From the golf course to the ice rink, the Golden Knights are the first expansion team in NHL history to sweep its first playoff series.
At the end of Game 4 against the LA Kings, Vegas fans cheered for one player's name. Michaela Jackson is live in the studio to tell us more.
Thanks, guys. That one player is no other than Golden Knights goalie Marc-Andre Fleury, also known as Flower. The playoffs are on his shoulders, but here is more on his incredible performance against the LA Kings in round 1, plus his regular season achievements.
All-star goalie, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, Marc-Andre Fleury leads the Vegas Golden Knights to the playoffs. But at the beginning of the season, Fleury was out for a month due to a concussion.
It's huge. It's a guy that, when you have your best player that has been having so many seasons in NHL, 3 Cup, and he's out of the lineup for a month and a half or something because of an injury, and when he's close to come back, he's like a kid at Christmas, and then he come on the ice and he's the happiest guy to be. This teaches you a lot. The guy is not hungry anymore. He's still hungry to play hockey. The passion is still so high.
On March 12th, Vegas beat the Philadelphia Flyers 3-2. That was Fleury's 400th NHL win. He became the 13th player to reach that milestone. As the regular season came to a close, Fleury ended with .927 save percentage. Then, in the first ever NHL playoff game in the Valley, Fleury shut down the LA Kings.
Very thrilling. I've had long games before, but to be home here in Vegas, and for the fans there to see maybe a second overtime playoff game, for the first time and being part of it and ending on the winning side is a great feeling. And I'm really proud of the way the guys played again tonight, and we're able to deliver another win.
Fleury's incredible performance during the first round of the playoffs included 2 shutouts, and within the 4 games had a .977 save percentage against the LA Kings. According to head coach Gerard Gallant, Fleury is the heartbeat of the team.
Well, he's obviously an all-star goalie, and he's been that way his whole career. And he steals games, he keeps you in games every night, and you need that. You need that throughout the season to get where you want to be, but you need that going into the playoffs. I think goalie's a very important position going into the playoffs, and he's going to be big for us.
Marc-Andre Fleury was born to play hockey in Las Vegas.
When it's loud and people cheering and supporting your team that way that people in Vegas do.
Marc-Andre Fleury's series-clinching performance in Game 4 in Round 1 of the playoffs earned him the Star Nursery Player of the Week. Fleury had 31 saves and shut out the Kings. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Michaela. Fleury will go head-to-head against the San Jose Sharks on Thursday, April 26th at T-Mobile Arena for Game 1. On our next episode, we will be covering Round 2 of the playoff series. Continuing with professional sports in the Las Vegas Valley, the Las Vegas Aces recently picked up A'ja Wilson as its #1 pick in the WNBA draft.
But you might see another familiar face on the court when the team begins play in May. Our very own Brandon McGregory sits down with former Lady Rebel Brooke Johnson, who has been invited to Aces training camp.
All right, Brooke, so I know this has been an exciting month for you. So give me a recap on your senior year.
It's been very eventful. We had a very tough non-conference schedule, and it was just to lead us up to the ultimate goal of winning the conference. And although we were able to accomplish that, we would have liked to go further in the tournament, make the NCAA, but we still went postseason, which is not common, and went to NIT, and so we're still moving up and hoping next year they're able to do the same thing.
We also heard that, you've been invited to the Aces training camp, so give us some detail on that.
Yeah, they called saying they were going to review some of the games that I've been playing in and that they were going to come and watch a couple. So I was just trying not to get nervous by any of that and just continue playing, staying in my flow throughout the senior year. And then I got the call to go to the draft party and found out that although I didn't get drafted, that they wanted me to come to the training camp. So I'm just working out as hard as I can for that now. I'm working hard. I'm doing side workouts, lifting, trying to gain some muscle, and playing pickup with some of them, trying to get that speed and terminology and that flow going, learning their tendencies, and just working, getting extra shots up. This is probably the hardest I've ever worked. Not that I'm not a hard worker, it's a whole new level. It's a lifestyle now.
So, what do you see now as a professional that you didn't see before?
The women who are playing this have a lot of experience. They have a very high IQ, high skill set, and they are built much better than I am. So I'm just changing my eating habits to where I'm eating 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day, trying to gain muscle, doing lifts, getting in extra running, cardio, and just trying to be able to take the hits and not hesitate and overthink what I'm doing. And it's just all that extra work and extra energy being put into what I'm focused on now and just trying to fulfill a dream.
Congrats to Brooke. She's one of 22 players invited to Aces training camp, which will begin April 29th. The team's final roster only can be 15 players though, so Brooke clearly has her work cut out for her to make the team. Now we've got an extremely unique story. The Las Vegas Lights have been surprising their fans since day one. From having emoji on their uniform to pet llamas on game days, they're a one-of-a-kind team.
They're doing something no other professional team in the U.S. has done until now. Marco Santander has more on how the Lights are continuing to make history.
Marijuana dispensaries partnering with the Las Vegas Lights, making it the first professional soccer team in history to be sponsored by a marijuana dispensary. The Las Vegas Lights made it official on their Twitter page, and the team expects this will help them grow.
They have invested so much, just like we have and our other partners, into making Las Vegas a thriving metropolis, right? We are a big league city, and having these types of partnerships is absolutely fantastic, and it's incredible for the support that they've shown, and we're happy to support our neighbors.
New is the largest marijuana dispensary in the world, and while the team thinks outside the box, the partnership will have a classic approach.
Our partnership is a traditional sports sponsorship. It's not on our jerseys, it's not on our uniform, it's signage in the stadium, it's intellectual property rights, it's other types of appearances and other types of ways of cross-promotion.
The Lights have local partners on the uniform such as Zappos and Finley Toyota, and New is pushing to be the next one.
I think ultimately will be some kind of, I don't know if it'll be blaze, that's our ultimate goal, across the chest or something like that, but it's all a potential.
While many substances are prohibited in the world of sports, marijuana has shown many positive effects on the body, and players will be allowed to consume these type of products.
Our players are world-class athletes, and I know that they would do what's best for their body, and they'll make that decision. There also is a lot of things at Nuwu. Almost 80% of their products are actually medicinal in nature, and there's a lot of things that are even approved by the World Anti-Doping Association that will help our athletes perform at a higher level, and we already have athletes very excited about that.
The dispensary is located just 2 blocks away from Cashman Field. The video announcing the partnership reached nearly 20,000 views after 3 hours of going public. For the Rebel Report, I'm Marco Santander.
While they talk about adding the logo to the uniform, the dispensary has reached an agreement and their logo is being displayed at Cashman Fields.
Mixed martial arts, or MMA, is the ultimate sport. I mean, what proves you're better than your opponent than giving them an epic beatdown? UFC fighters are the best at serving knuckle sandwiches, and our own David Stepanian went to the UFC Performance Institute here in Las Vegas to get an exclusive look at just what goes into their training.
So you want to be a fighter. Well, being a fighter is going to have some perks. Besides all the glitz and glamour, you get to use world-class facilities like the UFC Performance Institute. So come along with us as we take a walkthrough through these facilities. World-class athletes require world-class training, and with the UFC housing some of the most talented athletes on the globe, they understand just what fighters need in order to stay on top of their game. With state-of-the-art equipment, the UFC spared no expense in the $12 million Performance Institute.
What we want to help athletes, UFC fighters, do is strength and conditioning, physical therapy, nutrition, and manage all that together, right? So the sports science piece. So what's actually happening to your body when you're training for the sport of mixed martial arts or in a fight, and how can you improve that?
Built with the fighter's best interest in mind, the 300,000 square foot space features all the newest technology and training equipment, including facial recognition scanners on equipment that memorizes performance and training averages, and on-site nutritionists that help fighters with exercise and meal plans. The fighters call ahead of time to schedule an appointment for when they'd like to work out, so the UFC can best accommodate them.
The whole design of the facility was built around combat athletes. So there's a very specific nuance throughout the facility that this is for MMA fighters and combat athletes. It would look very different if we were building it for a football team, if we were building it for a baseball team. We built it for fighters, and that's what is revolutionary for this facility. There's no other facility like this anywhere in the world that has got this level of investment for combat athletes, and that's what sets it apart.
So what exactly do athletes need? What would I have wanted? What's going to make these guys better? What's going to elongate their careers, reduce injury, allow them to compete as often as they want, and allow them to, in the end, make more money and be healthier when they retire out of the sport?
The facility is open only to fighters daily from 9 to 5 and gets an average of 15 fighters per day, and these fighters get pretty hungry. Food is an essential part of maintaining their physique, and the UFC Performance Institute made sure to have the athletes covered when it comes time to chow down.
It's always very healthy, and it's always chicken. Chicken or fish is probably the two most favorite. With a little bit of carbohydrates, depending on where they're at in their fight camp or how they're eating. It all depends on the fighter. You got Stipe Miocic, who's the heavyweight champion, to somebody like Joseph Benavidez, who's, it all depends on, where they're at in their camp and how they're eating. Poke, yeah, definitely poke is one of our favorite and our crowd favorite as well. Everybody here loves poke. Every time we do a poke bowl, it sells out. No matter how much we bring in, it's crazy.
All right, guys, I'm going to go pass out from that food coma the cafe gave me. For the Rebel Report, I'm David Stepanian.
What an awesome facility, and more than half the roster has already visited the Institute. Now we are sending it to Michaela with this week's Rebel Report Timeout. Michaela?
Rebel Report Timeout!
Thanks, guys. Today we are joined by Amy Bush-Herzer, the UNLV women's golf coach, and they're champions. Woo!
We have to celebrate this.
Yes. Woo!
Nice job.
Woo! Woo! One more.
All right, everybody back to work.
They have won their third consecutive Mountain West title. How does that feel, Coach?
Amazing. This one was the most fun, too. So we had a great time defending our title for the last 2 years, and then this time coming in and winning the championship again.
How is it to sustain all the success within these 3 years of working with this team?
You sometimes you start really young with a team, and then you get to watch them grow, and you get to watch them grow together as a team. And that's what's really cool about this. They all set goals early on in their careers here to make sure that we could go ahead and be back-to-back-to-back champions. And it's really neat to see that's all come together, and watch them grow up a little bit too. That's a great part of the job.
What makes you guys are heading to NCAA tourney soon. What makes you think that your team can win this?
We're still having fun. And a lot of times teams forget to do that and forget that the experience is a really awesome one, that they get to go play great golf courses and have these wonderful experiences. And so we're still having fun, and I have to say that I still got my playlist going. So the young ladies let me put a playlist together, which was the first time in my career, and there was a lot of fun songs on there. I made sure that a lot of them were clean. And so I have to say it was a little bit of the playlist too.
What's on your playlist?
There's a couple rap songs. There's a couple songs. We went local too, so we put a couple Killers on there, Imagine Dragons.
Yes,
so we had to think of Las Vegas in this process too.
You have to. It's what you guys represent. This is your fourth tournament you've won this just for the season.
Yeah, we had a great year.
How does that feel to keep winning and just keep improving and just seeing these ladies grow as players?
You know what? I'm just a proud coach. I get to come to work. I get to come to work at a great university with a great staff, and I have wonderful kids. And you know what? If I can keep coming to a job that I love every single day, I'm the luckiest person around.
In the final round of the Mountain West tournament, you guys were facing San Diego State.
Mm-hmm.
It was neck and neck. What were you telling your girls at that time?
If people ever heard the conversations that I have with my young ladies, they would probably wonder. But at that point, that's where I really take their mind off of the golf and hope that they don't think at that point. And San Diego State really they're a great golf team. Same with New Mexico and same with San Jose. We're very lucky. We have a very competitive conference. But at that point it was, let's think of everything else besides what we're doing right now.
And then you guys are going to Florida.
Yeah.
It's humid.
Yeah.
It's hot here, but it's humid there.
Yeah.
So what are you expecting in Florida on the course, and then how to deal with the weather?
I hope to see some alligators.
Yeah.
I hope that. But no, we're prepping for it. So, our next couple days before we go are going to be, really playing the golf courses long because they're at a different elevation than us too. So there's a lot of moisture there. And so we'll play a little bit longer golf courses and hope that in that practice that gets us ready when we get there.
And then how are you taking this momentum from you getting your third consecutive win to NCAA?
It's a great thing to have, and I always laugh because I always go in thinking, that I love it when we don't get picked to be the underdog or to be the team that's going to advance to the national championship, because keep missing us. We're gonna be there because this is a really neat group of young ladies, and I'm excited to see what they can do next.
Men's golf, they also won their third consecutive Mountain West title. How does that feel to have both programs have so much success within these 3 years?
It's amazing, and it really says a lot for our community. I know that we were, kind of talking about this a little bit before, but Las Vegas is a wonderful community. It's a wonderful golfing community, and that just shows that everybody takes care of one another. And so to be able to showcase both programs 3 in a row, it says a lot for what we're doing here in Las Vegas, and it says a lot for our institution.
And then I know I've seen videos of you guys jumping into the water. You guys are so excited. You've won it again. What other celebrations have you done so far?
Well, there was a lot of Slurpees involved in last week. So if we kept positive attitudes, they got Slurpees. And so we got to know the local 7-Eleven in Palm Desert, and they got to know us a little bit, and they were excited to see us every day. But it's about telling them, I tell my young ladies a lot that I care about them, and that I'm proud of them, and that I believe in them. And so that says a lot with celebration too. Like, we did a great job, and they're just representing us, and that's awesome.
Good luck in the NCAA.
Thank you.
For sure have a story for you. Sending it off to this week's panel discussion.
Thanks for that great interview, Michaela. And we have a very special edition of the panel for you guys this week. I'm joined by Nyshawn, Marcos, and the lovely Cece. So we've got a litany of questions in sports this week. So I'm going to start right off the bat with Nyshawn. Question on everyone's mind. LeBron, he hit that huge buzzer beater the other night. Who's he going to be making buzzer beaters for next season?
LA.
LA? Why?
LA. LA.
Well, I'd like your Angelino bias to go unnoticed. I mean, I'm from Los Angeles also, but I feel like those are some high hopes. I think Philly personally.
There has been talks for the past 3 years that LeBron's going to LA. He has a mansion in LA. He has family in LA. He's always in LA. I feel like he would do a great job, especially now that the Lakers have these upcoming new young players and it's a fresh team. He can go and he knows that he can win a championship there. LeBron doesn't like to lose. The Cavs lost 9 out of their last 12 games and they're falling behind the Celtics, which is pretty bad. So I think that he's just peace out to the Cavs, on to LA.
I mean, but really breaking the Cavs' hearts again. I mean, not a lot of people are expecting him to remain in Cleveland, but don't you think that's the right thing? I mean, breaking their hearts again?
I don't think he'll be loyal to anyone. If he's going to lose, he's not going to be loyal. He's going to be loyal to whoever he will win with. All
right. Speaking of loyalty, Marcos took a break from trapping so hard this week to join our panel discussion. Marcos, Sharks, Golden Knights, you're our hockey expert. Who you got winning this one?
Well, the Knights beat the Sharks in the regular season. They beat them out of 4 games. They beat them 3 times. They lost only once. They outwon them 14 to 11 points. I feel like the Golden Knights have a strong offensive line, but the Sharks have a strong defensive line. When it comes to goaltending, they both are pretty even. So, I mean, it's gonna be quite a playoff, in my opinion, but I feel like the Knights have a good chance of winning.
You think the Knights are going to take the series?
I think so, yeah. Probably not sweeping, but it's going to be, I say, maybe Game 6.
Marcos, you are a great actor because when the cameras were not rolling, you're telling me all about the Sharks. Marcos decided he wants to live. Marcos decided he wants to live to see another day. He wants to make it out of this building alive. So you've changed your alignment to the Golden Knights.
No, I fully support the Golden Knights. I mean, that game.
We were talking about the X factor, Evander Kane for the San Jose Sharks before this game.
I think honestly, I think the X factor in both teams is definitely going to be the goalkeeper. On both
I think
teams.
so. We got 2 excellent goalkeepers for Jones for San Jose, and of course Fleury for the Golden Knights. So we'll see what goes on there. Cece, got the hard-hitting question for you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've heard, a few weeks ago, Len Jessup, president of UNLV, he's going to leave to some school in California over the summer. Never heard of this school, but that's a different story. How do you think Len Jessup's departure is going to affect the athletics department?
Yeah, well, I did hear a little bit about it. It was just sent in an email to all of us. But I think that it's going to be tricky for the athletic department and the school as a whole because Len Jessup was only here for about 2.5 years, but the athletic department isn't doing too great right now. We've kind of dug ourselves into a little bit of a hole, especially financially, and with the Raiders coming to our stadium, it's going to cost a lot more for UNLV to hold even our football team there. And our football team isn't the greatest right now, so a lot of people don't go to the games, and with the money going up on how much it's going to cost for us to even just have a game there, I think the team will have to be doing a lot better. And that's just one example of how the athletic department kind of needs to take a step up from where it is and how it's going right now with his departure.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Boyd Stadium, they're not selling out games. With this football team, they're going to have to be pretty good to sell tickets, even if in that big $2 billion stadium, right?
Yeah, I mean, the stadium is what it is right now, and they're not selling out games. And with how much more it's going to cost with the Raiders, and the Raiders are going to be making a lot of money with the stadium, but I think it might cause a little bit, maybe it'll bring some more people into it just because people will come here for the Raiders and then want to go see UNLV. But I think ultimately the football team needs to step up a little bit. And I think with the new president, he'll need to help the athletic department find its footing and find where it's supposed to go.
All right, the new stadium can only do so much. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's panel. Back to the desk.
Thanks, David, for that great discussion. Earlier in the season, we showed you one of our teams here at UNLV, the bowling team. It's time for one of our favorite segments, Show Me Your Skills with a member from the team.
Let's see if Jafar can actually add spin and hit a strike. Good luck, Jafar.
Show me your skills.
Hi, I'm Jafar Robso, and I'm here with
Dallas Leong.
And he's going to show me how to bowl.
All right, so the easiest way to do this, so you got to hit the one closest to you first. So I would normally start with your left foot on this dot, right next to the biggest one in the middle, and just make sure that your hand is the driver of the bowling ball. Wherever your hand goes is where the ball's gonna go. Just make sure that when you let it go, you just reach extra far, over exaggerate it, and make sure it's going towards that pin, and you'll knock over something every time. All right? Not bad. Same thing. There you go.
Okay, that's dope. That's all we have for Show Me Your Skills. Thanks again, Dallas.
No problem, man.
Wow, he's actually really good at bowling.
Yeah, no, I was really surprised. I mean, if journalism doesn't work out for him, he can always be a professional bowler.
Hey, plan B.
Another team here on campus that had a huge season was the women's tennis team. They actually won their third Mountain West championship.
That's great for them, really. That's all the time we have left for this episode of the Rebel Report. Make sure to follow our Twitter for the latest updates at Rebel Report UNLV.
On the next episode of the Rebel Report, we have a little fun with a local 10-year-old in town who is battling a disease. You don't want to miss his fight. See you next week.